Hey, here we are. It's been a minute. Welcome back, Miss Chantelli. We're Carlos.
Miss Chantel.
We're Carlos and Chantel. And yeah, we make marriage great again. So we're here to help you
It's
in
out of my way.
some relationship skills if you want to hear them. But tonight is our nightcap. Oh,
You
that's
need
my
this?
notes. Yeah. Thank you. So, wow, it's good to be back though. It is. It's been a minute. And every Monday we try to jump on here, but if we don't, we don't. Sometimes we don't. But today we're here. Yay! It worked out today.
Yeah, we're here.
So, but
For those of you who don't know who we are Carlos and Chantel Campos, and we're the founders of Epic Your Life, and we work with couples who want to increase their marriage skills. They want epic. They don't want the ordinary. They want the extraordinary. And so between the two of us, Carlos has, a history
we all have this, right?
of being incredible businessman, worked with you know many different corporations, businesses, grown them, strategic planning. He's highly skilled in all of those things. My background is working with abused and neglected children, and now adults, helping people to work through their trauma. So,
And you're pretty good at it, babe.
oh, thanks.
Pretty freaking awesome.
Woo.
Whoa,
We've got
emergency alert.
emergency alerts going through. Had lots of excitement lately. Excitement's probably not the best word, but
Lots of
natural disasters and not so natural
yeah.
disasters. So we've
Okay.
had Hurricane
Goodness.
Helene
Mm-hmm.
that is, came through. Thankfully, we were unscathed. But so many were tragically affected in North Carolina, different parts of Florida.
Yeah, we're in Georgia, and they thought it was going to hit us pretty hard.
Mhm.
They had us hunker down. Had everyone, all the kids didn't have the kids go to school. It was last Friday? Oh, 2
And
weeks ago.
Florida was hit really bad. Well,
Parts of
after
North
that
Carolina.
storm, just close by, we had a chemical fire that happened. So we were on high alert for our air quality, and we're still currently getting emergency alerts. They've got plumes of smoke and the air quality is real bad, super close. And now Hurricane Milton is coming. And so we have friends from Florida coming to the property. And
they're evacuating a lot of Florida.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay and stuff. It's crazy. It's real.
Lots of stuff happening.
Storms, hurricanes.
So we definitely have been in prayer for all of those places, all of the people who are affected by that. And yeah, our hearts and our love and support go out to all who it's not fun,
Right.
So
tonight is our recap of the day. So Mondays are one of our busiest days with our clientele, from anywhere from new people to people we've been working with for years. Cheers.
Cheers to a nightcap.
Much needed one. It's been a minute, but it's good to be back. And yeah, before we got on here, actually, we were chasing cows.
We both hopped off of our men's and women's calls separately.
I just wanted to show my boots.
I know.
I'm like a little kid. I'm like, I got some boots. I had to put on my boots because the cows got out. Got an opportunity to put my boots on and go chase some cows back into the yard.
Almost immediately after I got off my Zoom, I got a call from actually our trainer, our physical trainer, who happens to live nearby, thankfully, was like, hey, one of your cows is out. And so I rushed in here, made Carlos get his boots on and headed out to round up the cow.
Yep. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law jumped in side by side and took off. That's what we do. We wrangled the cows. Just a little bull, our little guy that He's just exploring, really. There was a fence where the tree went down over it, and barbed wire fence, so we didn't realize it. And he had gotten out where the rest of them stayed in.
Mhm.
But now here we are. So let's talk about what's been going on. Well, how was your day? How was is busy, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Lots of clients, and then we always end it to, we have a lot of clients, mentorships. And then we also have a men's call,
Mhm.
awesome group of men's leadership call, and then a women's call as well. What do you call your call?
It's the women's Zoom.
Women's Zoom. The women's connection call.
Yeah.
They connect.
Yeah. So the theme today was, how do we move into the new season? Right? Because the seasons change. And, we often talk about the 12-week year,
Yep,
right?
that's
So
right.
we talk about the 12-week year. And so when we look at what we're entering into the last 12 weeks of the year, which is 90 days, and it's a new season. We're literally in transition from summer to fall, and there's a lot of things that change, and so we kind of talked about how that affects us, mentally, emotionally, physically. And so ours was just really, it was really about kind of embracing the new season, and like how we handle it, what that looks like, right, to embrace the new season. And um it was great to have all of the different women kind of express what that looks like and feels like for them. And we can relate on different levels. Obviously we have different experiences, we live in different regions of the nation or world.
Yeah.
And so it looks like different things for different people, but it's still the changing of the season, right?
Mhm.
It's still entering into a new season. And so, we talked a little bit about that, and their assignment is to go out and go barefoot in the grass and feel the season changing and just kind
I
of
love it.
embrace it. And
That's so cool.
yeah, because it's real.
I didn't even realize that. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. See, amazing. And we are in the fourth quarter of the year,
Yeah.
the final 12 weeks of the year. So it's the finish strong quarter, right? But also it's the final year. Well, what our target is with the 12-week year is to get as much done in 12 weeks as you would normally get done in a year. So pretty cool, babe. I'm glad you brought this to my attention.
But at the same time,
we're in October now.
okay, so that's a man and the man perspective.
Get her done.
Right? And so as women, what we were recognizing is, as we move into fall, it's our luteal season. So if we follow, our menstrual cycles have seasons as well. And so it would be coming into, so we've come out of like a harvest season, right? And we're moving into a little bit more rest. It's the restful season, which ironically so is kind of a season where we move from all of these hustle and bustle activities into, like, maybe sitting by the fire and enjoying some soup, right? And so all of those kind of things, how they happen. And so
nestling.
well, yeah, so it's interesting. So you have the finish strong portion, right, for the year, but you also have this transition. So it's in the transition, right, that recognizing what that looks like and feels like.
It's cool.
Yeah.
So what was like so you've had several calls with women today and wives, and
Yeah.
so you felt that theme all the way through to your women's call then this evening?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of, I would say, like a lot of self-reflection, self-reflection and, kind of just, we talk about a lot about leveling up. We talk a lot about, what can we do? And I think sometimes it's also good to recognize that, um, like if I'm in a season of self-reflection and more of rest, is that okay? Right? Yeah, I teased one of my clients because, coming out of, a high control religious environment or whatnot, it kind of, the topic was like embracing, what that looks like and really trusting your body, trusting the feeling, as a mom and feeling, all of these different things. And is that okay? Right? Because I think sometimes we battle the transition of seasons. We battle with our mindset of what we're expected to do, what other people believe we need to do, how we need to respond, all of these different things. And, so then it kind of it puts us in a state of confusion where there doesn't need to be, right? Where it is okay to access, really like true reflection and discernment and knowing like, what my mind needs, what my heart needs, in this season, what my body needs is in this season. So
That's good.
yeah, we were kind of just exploring all of those things as women.
That's cool. It's really good.
Yeah, and I did some deep processing too. I had one client that is sort of again in a transition and recognizing, maybe it's time to start exploring going to a different church, right? And
Wow.
you know what keeps her there and has kept her there for so long, and kind of processing through that and recognizing that it's really sometimes we stay in a place that is could be a comfort zone, but yet you don't feel like it's a safe place. Like, why do we stay there? Right. And recognizing that, some of that is, a little bit of like you feel obligated because, maybe the community there has helped you through a difficult time.
Yeah.
You feel so all of the feelings and the emotions that would keep you there, but then recognizing again, we're moving into a new season. And so the conversation was, it kind of goes through this, like, you have these thoughts and these fears of, I don't, it's not comfortable to leave somewhere, right? Because you're afraid of what they'll think, you're afraid of, them not approving or all of those things, right?
Yeah.
So going through all of those kind of thoughts and feelings, but then also recognizing that, if people love you, this is an opportunity for them to love you at a new level and in a new season, right? And sometimes we don't give people the opportunity to prove themselves or to prove how much they love you when we just choose to stay stuck in, what capacity they had in the past, right? So sometimes it's not beneficial, and sometimes we need to move into a new season and allow opportunity for their growth as well, right? So
Good.
it's both our growth and the people around us,
It's really good.
you know?
Well, that's good. And I was yeah, that's a good point. Really good. Some deep thoughts there.
Yeah, it was kind of a very self-reflective, deep day.
I mean, what happens when we go through those scenarios and people help us?
Mhm.
We have this obligation that births in us.
Well, it's actually the law of reciprocity, right? So it's a law that kicks in and it's natural. However, how long does that law remain, right? How long do we allow that law to control us, right? So yes, and what? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just having a conversation. I don't remember if it was a client or somebody new today. I had one call with a new person, which was really cool and love. love having opportunities to work with new people, and it's a couple. That's pretty rare because we're known for working with singles and helping them to get married. We work with a lot of the previously Amish. This situation was actually an English couple. We call them English. They're not Amish, they're English. That's the thing. So, anyways, it was just interesting just telling the story of my previous marriage and that situation. And I was thinking back of how in that situation she rescued me in my addictions and my challenges, and she helped to rescue me, my previous wife, and she like then became almost like a hero and a god in my life that I became dependent on her. She became my source, and it was created a codependent created a codependent relationship because I felt obligated to her. And it's crazy how what that creates then. It's not healthy. The only one that I can know of where that relationship can be healthy is with God. My personal opinion. Where it's that dependent, right? That dependent. Because even you and I, as we've discovered in our 14 plus years now together, it's like, it's so surreal to be on this side of it, right? Because I was 14 years in my previous marriage and going through that divorce and everything, and now 14 years on this side. It's so weird to think of that. So, and to have a different experience of freedom. And so that leads me to what I was talking to a lot of the men about today, and what that looks like to lead in freedom as men, and to lead. One of the biggest questions that came up, because we work with a lot of, like I said previously, Amish, and understanding too what that looks like is you as a man are feeling more freedom, and you have a different understanding than maybe even your spouse or somebody that you're dating or somebody that you're trying to court. And you have a different understanding and maybe a different level of freedom. I mean, that could be defined that way. That's how I would understand it. Whether you're Amish and they're not, right? Maybe you've left the Amish and they haven't. That's one situation. It's maybe, hey, I'm moving on in business, and I want to have a new life, and someone you're dating or somebody you're seeing doesn't want to go with you. They want you to stay and be with them, and you're like, but I want to go and do this dream and this business and things. Well, I want to do this ministry stuff, right? Or I want to stay where I feel comfortable. It's interesting, like you're saying. And so how do men lead in freedom? And one of the things that comes up is trust. This was that good old question. So I think it'd be a great kind of conversation to have about this, because we talked about it as men. And one of the questions was, and we always come back to this, that how do I get my wife to trust me more? Or the woman that I'm trying to court that doesn't trust me. And it was interesting because we were walking through this whole scenario of what is trust. And here's my biggest, this is I'm really passionate about this one. And Chantel knows exactly what I'm going to say about trust is what? And you taught me this.
Trust is not earned, it's given.
Yes. She taught me this. It's amazing.
It's so funny because I actually said that on a call this morning too.
Oh. In the same wavelength all the time. So as men tonight, that we talked about that, and they were like, man, I cannot comprehend that. Because if you think about it, religious organizations want you to prove that you should be trustworthy. Think about that for a second. Let's go.
And they set forth all kinds of parameters to dictate whether you are or aren't.
That's right. It's a trap. If you do this, then guess what? We can trust you. You must be a righteous man or woman because you did this, this, and this, and this. But here's the good book that I read, a cool book called the Bible, the Torah, the canon, whatever you want to call it. It says actually that it's a gift. Grace and love and even salvation is a gift. It's not something where you have to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. That's the fruit. So then what's interesting is I say this beautiful woman, my bride, my queen, Chantel, taught me how this works. And how did she teach me? She did it to me. Those of you that watch my story on our YouTube channel here, you probably know that I admittedly said that, growing up, I was a womanizer. No doubt. And so with that said, with my past being a womanizer, my past of being married before, right? When I came into this marriage with Chantel, by all the world standards and by everything, this man has not proven himself to be trustworthy. He just left his wife and da-da-da. He was a player before. And yet, time after time, first of all, she wasn't jealous. First of all. Second of all, she trusted me to be with other women. Didn't feel that I never ever felt like if I was talking to a woman that I had to look over my shoulder. Is Chantel watching me? Is Chantel thinking I'm doing something wrong? Do you know how crazy that shame and guilt is? So again, recognizing that. And when Chantel taught me this and did this with me, I didn't want to ever betray that trust. And here's what's crazy. I had a story to relate to that with a homeless guy that I trusted in my previous marriage with our home. And guess what? He had stolen and robbed people's homes before. But because I trusted him with my house, he didn't do it to my house. Crazy, right? He'd never been trusted before. And so again, time and time again, I see where trust is not earned, it's given. Now, I will say though, that there's wisdom in when you give someone trust. I will say that. That's a hard lesson to learn as well. So I know there's always those situations, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I would say that it is a powerful thing to give trust.
Mm-hmm. It's not about black and white, but again, when you talk about trust, we also talk about everybody has a story. Everybody has behavior that they have displayed, right? And I passionately talk about this all the time, is if we don't create space for somebody to do something new,
It's good.
they repeat the same story.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy thing to do, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's like, that the early days of, our relationship were just a cakewalk because I just trusted him.
Yeah.
No, it was a very intentional place to be. It was very intentional in sort of holding space and
That's
calling
right.
forth the full potential that I saw in him.
That's right.
Not what he was in the past or what his behavior had proven up to that point, right? But it was to recognize that, I think that's one of the most powerful things that I discovered working with abused and neglected kids, right? As a staff member, somebody who's taking care of children, how many of those stories, how many of their, every child comes in and they have a book that is whatever happened to them. It's it shows you their whole story. And if that book defines them, what do they have to live for? Honestly, right? So when I learned to look at human beings and to see that behavior doesn't define a person. It doesn't define a child. A child acting out, a child, with whatever behavior, that the behavior isn't who they are. It's a result. It's a result of their experience. It's a result of trauma. It's a result of culture, whatever it is. The family dynamic, right? It's a result of neglect.
Mhm.
Why would that not be the same with us as adults,
Yep. So
right?
true. So true.
But when we're given an opportunity and the space to do something different, and we have somebody who believes in us,
Yes, come on. That's
that
right.
empowerment
That's right.
causes the human nature to want to do different.
Yes.
Okay. Without the space and the belief, fuck it. We'll just do the same thing. Why not? Because everybody expects it.
That's right.
Right. But it requires the people around us to intentionally create space
Come on.
and to believe in us.
So then the question came up with the men is like, what can I do to get her to trust me more? Well, then I talked about trust is not earned, it's given. However, with that said, what can you do as a man or woman to give space or to give them a reason to trust you? Right? There's the key.
Mm.
You assume then that, oh, we should just give everyone trust. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is it's given. It's not earned. See, if we look at it as earned, then you're always going to feel heaviness. You're always going to feel. I mean, let's just go back to salvation. You sit here and tell me that trust is earned, then you don't necessarily believe in salvation being a free gift. What you believe is that you have to work for your salvation. Okay. But if you truly understand that trust is given, it's just like salvation, love, unconditional love. That's why it's called unconditional. There's no condition, you just give it freely. Well, that's the same as trust and honor and blessing. If you want someone to be trustworthy, give them trust.
Right. 100%.
And then here's the thing. But as men, what can we do that would cause a woman to not trust us? That's a key element. Guess what it comes back to? That word. Confidence. Confidence, baby.
Oh,
If you don't have confidence, why would she trust you? You don't even trust yourself. That's really what it comes down to.
mm.
So if you don't trust yourself, you don't have confidence. That's really what it comes down to. That's what I'm recognizing. I had multiple calls today with guys who don't have confidence when it comes to relationships, whether they're married, whether they're single. They don't have the confidence. And guess what? That's why their wives or their girlfriends don't trust them because they don't trust themselves in the decisions they make. A woman wants a man who has confidence. And where that confidence comes from is when I trust myself in the decisions I'm making. Because, see, there's this, we're dealing in a lot of different challenges. You have something to say about that before I move on? Because
No, that's good. That's good.
Okay. Look, here's the thing. Like, because you can say, what do I do to get the woman to trust me? Well, then what happens is like, they're going to make this checklist. My wife could do the same thing for me. I'm not above that. Be like, hey, baby, how can I get you to trust me? Well, if you do this right,
Let
and
me
do
count the
this right, and you
ways.
do this right, then I will trust you more. Look, then I'm just a weak suck that is just trying to earn my love from my wife, trying to earn my salvation and love from God. Sound familiar? But here's the reality. If you have confidence and you trust yourself, we're dealing with a situation where a client of ours recently left the Amish. Now, I told you like 80% of our clients are previously Amish. Part of it's our partnership with amazing Jesse and Adina Kaufman and working with him. And he's a well-known influencer in the previously Amish movement, right? And then we have a lot of legacy people too, that leadership in our group that are previously Amish. So look, we have been helping people that are previously Amish. But here's the situation. We're working with an Amish man who left the Amish, so he's now previously Amish, and his wife didn't leave. So there's a big deal. So then if he goes back to his wife and says, my darling, how can I get you to trust me? Guess what she's going to say? Come back to the Amish. And guess what? He has children. So it definitely seems like, well, that would be the thing to do, right? You want your wife back? You want your kids back? Go back to the Amish if that's where she is. So, but those of you that are English may not even understand this. Those of you are Amish listening, or previously Amish, I should say, because Amish probably wouldn't watch this, can totally understand what that looks like and what that means. And that's not the case here. He has to be confident in what he's done, his decision, and then the plan for his future, his plan as a leader of where he's going. And baby, come with me. I've got a dream. I've got a plan. Let's go do this together. Let's create a really amazing life for ourselves and our children. I'm not going to apologize for leaving the Amish. And look, men that are out there, and your girlfriend or whatever is, if it's okay if you want to go and you're ready to move on to a new level of freedom, maybe you have a girlfriend or somebody you've been courting that's just like, no, I don't want to do that. It's okay. Keep going. Look, if this is a higher level of freedom, obviously, if it's not creating death and destruction, the mission and the dream that you have, right? That it's progression, it's growth, it's development, and it's a benefit. Yes, keep going. That's what I believe God wants for you. And say, baby, will you come with me? Baby, will you come with me? I love you. I have a plan. I want to take care of you. I want to be a blessing to you. I want to provide for you and our children. Will you come with me? Or maybe it's our future children if you're not married. And if they say no, it's okay. That's the thing. You might be stuck in the fact that you think that there's only one person for you. Not true. There is not the one. Otherwise, there's no such thing as free will. However, there is one that will choose to want to go with you in that dream and in that goal. And then at the same time, you're going to yoke together and you're going to make sure her dreams come true too, and that she feels loved and blessed, and that our children's dreams come true. We're going to help provide for them, and we're going to support them in their dreams. And you're going to support her in her dreams. But I've got a plan, baby. You want to come with me? I've got a plan to do greater things. You want to come with me? Let's go. That's leadership.
Yeah.
Progression. And I tell you, so many times in different levels and different things, doesn't always have to do with religion or with some culture like the Amish, but we suggest that to people all the time. Keep progressing, keep going. And men, lead your wives well with a vision. A woman loves a man with a plan that will take action on that plan.
And I think that, it's important to recognize too that that's attractive. Okay. So we talked earlier about comfort zones and obligation. What?
I said, thank you.
No, it's for real, right? So, what he's talking about right now is a man taking leadership, a leadership role, right? Saying, listen, I have a plan. I have a vision. Will you come with me? That is attractive. Now, if you have that, comfort zone that is pulling you, and you're trying to get a man to stay in your comfort zone, and he's insecure about it because he doesn't believe in himself, right?
Yeah.
So what the fruit of that is down the line is a lack of attraction in their intimacy. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to be really clear that insecurity is not attractive. So when we are insecure, we're choosing to fall into, we're just going to fall in line with the rest of the sheep because that's, it's the fear of man. It's all of these different things create that insecurity.
Yeah.
And ultimately that breeds a lack of attraction. That breeds a lack of connection,
Trust,
intimacy. all of those things that is necessary for an epic marriage.
Yes.
So it is really important that you hear exactly what Carlos is saying and recognize that, you know, and again, going back to confidence doesn't just happen overnight.
Yes.
But it happens when we have the courage to take action
That's
towards
right. Come
the
on.
goal. When we have courage to move in the direction of the vision, and we have the courage to say, hey, baby, I have this vision. Will you trust me?
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's yoke together. Let's
right.
create this dream. Let's create what we want. You know,
That's right. So
we can create this together
yes.
and do it, you know, one step at a time. That's what builds the confidence, right? And that gets more and more attractive as you go, as you experience the trials. But when you're yoked together,
Come on,
and you're doing it together, like that's what brings the ultimate intimacy. That's what
Yes.
brings the ultimate trust.
Yes.
That's what brings the ultimate commitment,
Yes.
communication, and confidence.
Come on.
Right? Like you have to take one step and put it in front of the other and bring her alongside.
That's right. The courage to take action. It's
Yeah.
a tough one, but you got what it takes. You do. And I believe in you that you can go forth and move forward. The confidence, and it's through the repetition that that confidence will be built. Do you have the courage to take action and start with it? And sometimes you do. You got to have that support. Like what's powerful is my wife. You know, it's I would tell you some of our conflicts that we've had is actually when I have fear and doubt. That's the reality. It is. Because then she's like, it's like all of a sudden then she has fear and doubt because if I have fear and doubt.
Well, because fear and doubt breeds insecurity, breeds
right.
insecurity.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there aren't times that I do have fear and doubt. There's no doubt about that. But do I stay in it? That's the key. And part of that is sometimes I just need to release some crap that I'm concerned about. Concerns are real. She'll validate those feelings that I'm having, but then she doesn't let me stay there.
Yeah.
And that's what happens sometimes, okay? In a relationship, it's important for you to understand that validation is not jumping into the boat with them with their fear and doubt. That is the worst thing you can do. Don't say, well, not only that, but I got this problem and then, oh my gosh, I'm scared too. And no. And then you just pile it up worse and worse. And as a husband and wife, you can really pile stuff up really high, a lot of crap. And then you get covered up by it. It's real. So what's important is to validate so they can release and then speak into them that you believe in them. Because that's really what happens is an identity and not trusting myself. So what can you do to help your spouse? What can you do to help your boyfriend or girlfriend trust themselves? Yeah. You got to speak into them. You got to believe when they're lacking the belief. And that's literally sometimes I just say that to them like, I am having some doubt here. Can I have some confidence sex? It's a good one, guys. If you're married, use it.
It's one way to overcome your insecurity.
That's right. It is. But seriously, oh yeah, we're not supposed to say that word. Dang it. Because YouTube then doesn't allow people to see it. Intimacy. I need some confidence intimacy with my wife. But really, it is funny, and I like to be funny sometimes. But the challenge, the truth is, yes, these are good things, is to have that ability to be real at times, talk about those fears, and then it's not her job to jump in the boat and say, make it worse, pile it up worse. It's her ability to say, okay, I hear you, man, that must really suck.
Yeah.
It's hard to deal with all that.
Not my job to coddle you.
That's right. Exactly.
Right? You're not a little boy. I'm not your mom.
That's right.
I'm your wife. Right? So a wife, what does that look like? It looks like empowering, believing. And how do you communicate that? Right? How do you communicate that you are attracted to the confidence? How do you communicate that you are believing in this man in all that he can do, right?
She has helped to create me. That's for sure. She believed in where I couldn't believe. She helped me in the confidence where I lacked it. She spoke into it and she pulled it out of me. And it has helped to create the man in me. And same with her. I do the same with her. Like she has challenges and fears, and I don't know if I can do this. Like it's real. We all go through it.
Right.
We're no different than you. And I validate those things. I'm learning to do that. I didn't do it for for a while. And men do have, I will admit, that men have a harder time validating and understand what that looks like.
Doesn't come as naturally. You have to be very intentional.
That's right. So I validate, man, that must really suck. And I know it's a hard thing for you to go through. Because I want to just jump to the, hey, let's just move on. I want to jump to the solution, but that's not the validation.
Right.
I want to jump to the action steps we can take to get out of this victim mode we're in. But guess what? Guess what she says to me? You're not hearing me. It's like, okay, let me repeat back to you what you just said. You're still not hearing me. What it really has to do with this validation.
Yeah.
And so validating that, by recognizing that in validation, we're not jumping into the pit with them or the frustration with them. We're actually just helping them to release it so they can receive a new thing and they can see a different story, see a different version, see through a different lens.
What can we do when we feel empowered? We can do all kinds of things, right?
That's right.
I mean, it's the same for both men and women, right? We need to feel that. So
yeah, there's a super powerful verse about one man can take on 1,000 or something like that, but two can take on 10,000. And that's right here with your spouse. And you work together as one flesh and take on the whole freaking world. And I feel that way. When we're in sync, look out, world. Here we come. I'm going to make a difference. So, love you guys.
yes.
Love you, babe. Thanks. It's good. And hope this was beneficial to you. Message us, communicate with us. We'd love to hear topics and things you'd like for us to discuss or talk about, because we truly are about meeting the needs of the people and finding out what it is you would like some pointers on, or some strategies or some skills. And like our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. So when we create new content, you'll be let know and spread the word. We'd love to help more lives.